Good morning, students. This side Nitin Dikshit, and in today's lecture of computer network, we are going to discuss the TCP/IP model. This is lecture number 5, and in previous lecture, lecture number 4, we discussed about the OSI model. So, why we use the TCP/IP model? What is the use of TCP/IP model? And in the previous lecture, I also asked you a question that TCP/IP is a physical model and OSI is a logical model, and told you that you have to find out the answer of that my question. So I hope you all find that, but I still give it the answer of that. The OSI model is a logical model because first the logic is defined for the transmission of data. After that, a layered architecture OSI model is defined by the ISO. But in TCP/IP model, first all the protocols are defined, then we create a model. So it is a physical model. So we just create all the things first, all the types of protocols which are used in various layers of TCP/IP model. They are all defined first. Then we create a model. And TCP/IP model is invented first. Then the OSI model is defined. Okay. So in today's lecture, we will discuss the layers used in the TCP/IP model, the functions of various layers of each layer, and all the things. So let's start. So here are the outlines of today's lecture, in which first we define the learning outcomes, then introduction to the TCP/IP model, why we use the TCP/IP model, description of layers, advantages and exercise, and end with the references. So the learning outcomes. After completion of this lecture, you can define the concept of TCP/IP system, its advantages, what is a protocol, what type of standard is used in TCP/IP, what is the TCP/IP model, what is this purpose for use, the layers of TCP/IP, and a description of each layer. Okay, so let's start with the TCP/IP model. As all we know that TCP/IP stands for the Transmission Control Protocol and Internet Protocol. So it is a combination of rules and regulations or functions or methods which all are defined in TCP and IP. Okay. Now, TCP/IP model is developed by the Department of Defense in 1960, and it is based on the standard protocol. Standard protocol means all the standard protocols which are defined in TCP or TCP/IP. Okay. Now, or TCP/IP model is a concise version of OSI model. Okay, and it contains four layers, unlike 7 layers in the OSI model. So their 4 layers are application layer, transport layer, internet layer, and network access layer. Here are the layers. As you can see in the diagram, 4 layers are defined: application, transport, internet, and network access. In some books, 5 layers are also defined, like in Tannenbaum. In Tannenbaum book, 5 layers are defined, in which they added one more layer, that is called physical layer, for the access part. But in this diagram, the physical layer is combined with the network access layer. Now, come to the description of each layer, starting with the network access layer. So, this layer corresponds to the combination of data link layer and physical layer of the OSI model. Okay. It look out for the hardware addressing. The first function of this layer is hardware addressing. So this layer look out for the hardware addressing, and the protocol present in this layer allows for the physical transmission of data, as in the physical layer of OSI model. So the protocols which are used we will define later, but in physical layer it defines that how the data should be sent physically through the network. And this layer is also responsible for the transmission of data between the two devices on the same network. Means if the two devices are on the same network, then network access layer is responsible for the transmission of data. And will also define some functions like encapsulating of the datagram into frame, and these frame are transmitted by the network. So here in TCP/IP model, basically the frames are not defined because we are using the IP here. So the frames are known as IP datagram because IP is defined. Okay. Now, uh, now comes to the protocol. So there are so many protocols are which are used in the physical layer, like uh, Ethernet, token ring, FDDI, X.25, and frame relay. So here Ethernet is the IEEE 802.3, which defines the physical transmission of data. After that, token ring is a topology in which our ring topology is defined, and a token is defined by which the transmission of data take place. After that, FDDI, that is fiber distributed data interface, in which the uh, optical fiber cables are used for the transmission of data. And after that, X.25, that is the interface which is used to connect the DT and DC. And after that, frame relay is used for relaying or connection for the transmission. Okay. Now, so these are the protocols which are used in the network access layer. Now come to the second layer of TCP/IP model, that is internet layer. So in internet layer, it is a combination of uh, transport or combination of layers of data link and network. So this layer defines the functions of network layer, which is defined in the OSI model, and it defines the protocols which are responsible for logical transmission of data over the entire network. Okay, so for this, uh, a network layer is a combination of physical and data link layer, and it defines the data should be sent physically, and it is mainly responsible for the transmission of data between two devices on the same network. Now, it is also known as network layer. So the main responsibility of the network layer or internet layer is to send the data packet from any network, and they arrive at the destination irrespective of the route as they take. So the internet layer is responsible if the data packet is arrived at out of order, and maybe the data packet takes a different route for the transmission. So it is all defined by the network layer. Now, there are so many protocols, and all the functions like error control, flow control, and access control are just like a function which are defined in the layer of network layer of OSI model. The functions are same. Okay. Now come to the protocol, because which protocol are used here. Now in this layer, the main protocol which are used is called IP protocol. Okay. So IP protocol is used in this layer, and it is the most significant part of the entire TCP/IP protocol suite. Okay. Now, so the responsibilities of this protocol are: First is it implement the logical address, host address, as we know known it to IP address, and the IP address is used by the internet and the higher layers to identify the device and to provide the inter-network route. Now, second function is the host-to-host communication, that it determines the path through which the data is transmitted. Third one is the data encapsulation and formatting. So this protocol accepts the data from the transport layer protocol, and IP protocol ensure the data is sent and received securely by the receiver. So it encapsulates the data into a message known as the IP datagram. So as I told you that the uh, frames are not defined here. So in TCP/IP, the data is transmitted in the form of IP datagram. After that, next point is fragmentation and reassembly. So as we know that in IP, the maximum size of data is defined, or we can say a limit is imposed on the size of the IP datagram by data link layer. That is known as MTU, maximum transmission unit. So maximum transmission unit is the maximum size uh, which a single IP datagram can take. So if the size of the IP datagram is greater than the MTU, then the IP protocol splits the datagram into smaller units so that they can travel over the local network. So fragmentation is defined here, and fragmentation is done by the sender or intermediate router which are using. And at the receiving end, all the fragments are reassembled to form a original message. So this is also defined in the by the IP protocol. And after that, routing. So when IP datagram is sent over the same network such as LAN, MAN or WAN, so there is a direct delivery of data. And when the source and destination are on the different network, then IP datagram is sent indirectly. So this is done by routing of the IP datagram by various devices such as routers, hubs, switches, servers, etc. Okay. Now these are the functions of IP. Now second protocol which is used in this layer is ARP protocol. So ARP is designed stand for the address resolution protocol. So it is used to find out the MAC address of a particular host. If a particular router or a particular device which want to know the MAC address of different host or different entity, then it sends the ARP. So this can be done by two methods, that is ARP request and ARP reply. After that, ICMP protocol is also used in this layer, that is called Internet Control Message Protocol. That is a mechanism used by the host or router to send the notification regarding any problem in the sending of IP datagram. So, and so these are the protocols which are used in this layer. Now, come to the next layer, that is called transport layer. So, transport layer is responsible for the reliability, as I write in this, the end-to-end communication. So, end-to-end communication is defined here. Flow control is defined here. Error-free delivery of data is defined. Correction of data is defined. These all are defined by the transport layer. Now, so end-to-end communication means the transport layer of sender side is communicate with the transport layer of receiving side. That is called end-to-end communication. Okay. Now, after that, second one is the error-free delivery. So it is responsible for the error-free delivery, means the transmission of data is error-free, means there is no error during the transmission. If the error is arrives here, then it could be resolved by the transport layer. So now for transport layer, two main protocols are used, that is called UDP and TCP. So UDP is the user datagram protocol, and it provides the connectionless services and end-to-end delivery of transmission. Okay. So in this protocol, it defines the error, but not specify the error. So for this, the ICMP protocol is used to report the error. And after that, second one is the TCP, that is called Transmission Control Protocol. And Transmission Control Protocol is a connection-oriented protocol, reliable protocol, and it provides a path between the sender and the receiver. So TCP is a very important protocol which is used here, and the whole network is depends on TCP. Now, after come to the next layer, that is called application layer. So application layer is the topmost layer of the TCP model, and it is responsible for handling high level protocols and issue of representation. As I told you earlier, that application layer is a combination of upper three layers of OSI model, that is application layer, presentation layer, and session layer. Okay, so it uh, defines all the functions which are defined by the three layers of OSI model. So it is responsible for handling high level protocol, allows the user to interact with the application, and if one application layer protocol wants to communicate with the another application layer, it forwards its data to transport layer. Okay, as that, let's take an example for that. As I written here, that first function, the main function is node to node communication. Node to node communication means a particular application part of uh, one system wants to communicate with the application part of the another system, or application layer of the one system connect with the application layer of the another system. So this make possible by the application layer. Okay, so in application layer there may be an ambiguity occur. Why? Because every application cannot be placed inside the application layer. Those who interact with the communication system, like for test, let's take example for that. If we take a we take a text editor, so cannot be considered an application layer, while web browser using HTTP protocol to interact with the network, where HTTP protocol is an application layer protocol. So two main different things are there, text editor and HTTP, but we can't take both on the application part. So ambiguity can be defined here. Now, for this layer, so many protocols are works, but some of them are, first is HTTP, because without this protocol, we can't use the network, we can't use the internet. This is the main protocol for using. So HTTP stands for the Hypertext Transfer Protocol. Okay. So this protocol allows us to access the data over the WWW, or World Wide Web. After that, second one is the SNMP, that is called uh, Simple Network Management Protocol. And it is a framework for using uh, it is a framework or using uh, for managing the devices on the network or in the on the internet by using a TCP/IP protocol suite. Okay. After that, SMTP. So SMTP stands for Simple Mail Transfer Protocol. So it supports all the email services and all the email services using the SMTP. After that, DNS, that stands for the domain name system or domain name address, to identify the connection of the host to the internet. After that, Telnet, terminal network or telecommunication network. So it defines the connection between the local computer and the remote computer. After that, FTP, that is called file transfer protocol. So these all protocols are used for the application layer, and these all protocols are known as the application layer protocol. Clear? Now, one more protocol is used in one or two or more protocols are used here, that is called SSH and NTP. These are two main protocols. That SSH stands for the secure shell, and it is similar to the telnet, and NTP is for the network time protocol, and this protocol is used for synchronize the clock of one system to the another. So these are the some protocols which are used in the application layer. Now come to the advantages of TCP. It is an industry standard protocol, means what the industry wants this defined, because nowadays we are using internet and all the data by internet, so it defines the industry standard protocol. Okay. Now second is it is interoperable. Interoperable means that this protocol can be used as interoperate, means if our system using some different network, if some systems are using different platforms, and all the hosts are can be connected either or they are using same platform, same devices, same components, same hardware, and either they are devices using different hardware, different platform. So there's an interoperable. So the two devices which are using are two different things can also com- uh, com- uh, communicate with each other. After that, third one is the open bar protocol suite. Like OSI, it is also a open protocol suite. Means anybody who wants to connect with the internet can use the TCP/IP protocol. After that, scalable. It is a scalable. Means if you want to send more data, you can send. If you want to send less data, you can send, but not not more than the MTU, that is maximum transferable unit, which is defined by the IP. So it is scalable. And after that, assigns an IP address. So in TCP/IP, IP address is assigned to each and every host for the connection. Okay. So these are the some advantages of TCP/IP. Now come to the disadvantages. First one is not generic in nature. It is not generic in nature. Means uh, mm, no, uh, not to define, and it can be changed. It is very simple, as you can see, but it can't be changed. Second one, not define the concept, means that the concept which are using here is just like OSI model, not the different one, but it not define the concept the, that like in OSI, the each layer perform a specific function, but here the layers in TCP/IP are combined and the concept are not defined how they work. After that, can't separate the data link and physical layer because it's combined here. So we cannot show the how the data bits are transmitted, how the things are performed, and not used in a small network. Not in a small network means if the network is too small, then we are not using this type of network. And last one is the not suitable for ad hoc network. Means if we are using an ad hoc network like Bluetooth communication, then the TCP model is not suitable. Okay. So these are all the advantages and disadvantages. And one more thing, that it is not can't separate the data link and physically because they are combined. So uh, because the it concerned with the transmission of frame, and on the other hand, the physical layer uh, lay down the physical characteristics of transmission. So we just cannot define the characteristics of transmission in TCP/IP model. So these are the some advantages and disadvantages of TCP/IP model. Okay. Now, come to the exercise in which some questions are defined here, which are very much important, like which layer in the TCP/IP stack is equivalent to the transport layer of OSI model. In TCP/IP layer, which stack is used? Application host to internet network access, equivalent to transport layer. You have to define here. And after that, which of the following protocols used for TCP and UDP? Length of the port address. What is the length of the port address in TCP/IP? And TCP/IP layer is equivalent to the combined session of presentation and application. So there are so many question can arises and so many MCQs are defined for the TCP/IP model. So I hope you will understand what is TCP/IP, why we use TCP/IP, what are the layers in the TCP/IP, and all the functions of these layers. So this is the reference. Reference are always the same because I always preferred the Frozen, that is Data Communication Network by Behraz Frozen, and also the little bit of Tenenbaum. And this is the references. So thank you very much for listening my lecture today of TCP/IP model, and I hope you all understand the little bit of differences between the OSI and TCP/IP. And in the next lecture, we will discuss about the only the differences between the TCP/IP and OSI. Okay, so you are more aware of these two models, so you can define these two models very much. Okay, so thank you very much for listening my lecture, and thanks a lot.